If you're renting a pool for your dog to swim in on Swimply or on Sniff Spot, there are a couple of things you want to look at when you're checking out the listings, and then a couple of things you need to be mindful of when you arrive at these locations to make sure your dog is safe and healthy in those environments. Now, if you are going to be renting a pool, I highly recommend that you're checking out Swimply or Sniff Spot. I'm putting my referral codes down below. On Swimply, you get a massive discount. You could potentially be swimming for free, and you can also get a discount over on Sniff Spot. So those are down below. Highly recommend you are checking out my links to get those discounts. And then as you're looking at the listings, you want to start identifying potential problem areas. Now, each dog is going to be different. Some dogs will be fine with things and some dogs will not be fine with certain things. One of the big things is having a fenced in area. Now, most pools will have a fenced in area because that's just a legal requirement to protect small children. And so most of these places will have a fully fenced in area. Some of them, including the one that I've gone to, have like 3 sides of a fence and then a bunch of trees, which potentially your dog could get there. So you need to be mindful of that when you're booking, if your dog is the type that would run through them and just disappear, or if they're going to be respectful of those boundaries. You want to pay attention to what else is around them. The location that I go to, because there is only one dog-friendly pool that is an hour away from me. So I have one place that I can be going right now. They have chickens that just free roam around the area. So when we go, I have to make sure the chickens are out of the way before I get my dogs out of the car and take them into the venue. They also have dogs that are in their house that can see us and sometimes bark at us. So you have to be mindful of if there are other animals, if there are other people, if it's close to the road, if it's got a lot of country, if it's all fenced in. Those are things you need to be mindful and aware of. But you also want to pay attention to what else is going to be there. If you have a dog who just loves everything and likes to explore everything, you might find that your dog gets a little too curious about some of the inflatables, the floaties that they have in the pool area for you to use. If your dog is one that's going to accidentally pop those things, you need to remove that before you allow your dog out of the car. So I highly recommend when you arrive on the physical location, you are taking a peek before you let your dog in and removing any potential hazards because you don't want to get in trouble for popping their inflatables. You also want to be mindful of things like flowers. Many of these pools will have their areas decorated with flowers, and some flowers can be toxic to dogs. Some plant life can be toxic to them. So you either need to make sure you can keep your dog away from that, or you need to know what types they are so you can identify them. Like, you must be very mindful of these things. Some dogs will sniff them, some dogs will ignore them, some dogs will try to eat those flowers. So that is really helpful to know before you book the location. The first time I booked a pool, it didn't show them, but we arrived and there was an entire wall of flowers that my literal puppies, were very curious about, and I had to be very careful to keep my dogs away from that. Now I know for this time that there are flowers there, and be mindful when my dogs are over in those areas. Just be aware, and I highly recommend you are bringing hydrogen peroxide and a baby eyedropper squirter syringe with you. If they eat something that could potentially be toxic, you just shove that right down their throat and force that right back out of those tummies, and then head to your bed. So just be mindful of the environment, because some people rent out their pools, especially on Swimply, that is not dog specific, but dog welcoming. Some of these people will not think through what it entails to have a dog there. So while it might be a beautiful thing for humans to see, could potentially be a hazard for dogs, even though they allow dogs there. So you as the dog parent have to be mindful of these things. So you're looking for any potential issues. You're also looking for furniture that they can get hurt on, or, if your dog is one that digs and there's grass near the pool, that could be a problem for you. So you want to be mindful of what you're going to be booking. You are responsible for your dog while you're there, so you have to be aware of any potential pitfalls before you book, and then when you show up, to notice the things that were not in the listings, not in the photos, or you didn't think about when you booked it, so that you can navigate that with your dog while you are going to be there. So you were looking for any potential toxins, any potential things that they could eat, any potential things that they could damage. You're going to be looking for anything that they could get hurt on. A lot of pools will have like lawn chairs out or lounge chairs, and those have straps on them. If your dog tries to jump up on that chair, their paw could go through and they could injure themselves. So you just have to be very aware of what is around and what your dog might interact with. Like I said, for some people, your dog wouldn't even dream of jumping up on a lounge chair. But for some of you, your dog would absolutely be on that lounge chair. So while a pool might work for one of you, it might not work for all of you. So you've got to go through and fine tooth comb all of the photos, look at all of the reviews. Unfortunately, they don't let you give very good reviews. I tried to give a comprehensive list of here's what you need to be aware of. Here are all the good, all the potential pitfalls. And they said, nah, girl, like one tiny paragraph. And so I wasn't able to list as much as I wanted, but I tried to let people know, hey, these are some things you should flag for yourself and just be aware of before you book so you know what you're getting yourself into. When you're leaving reviews, try to be as helpful as possible for other dog parents so that we know this works really well. But if you have this type of dog who likes to eat the flowers, just be aware that there are flowers around. The more information you give, the more you can help each other. And checking the reviews means that sometimes you'll find information like that is not in the listing as well. So be mindful of any pitfalls, be mindful of anything that could be toxic. Make sure you have, again, hydrogen peroxide in that syringe in case you are going to need them, and then use them as needed. And just be mindful of when you go in and when you leave, and that you have enough time to drip off and that you are ready to go when it is time to go and you're not trying to collect everything. If you can take more than one person with you, that is super helpful because you can manage your dogs and they can manage the stuff, or they can get the car cooled down in time. That's another really good point. If you are wrapping up, head on over to your car as long as it's a safe area. Turn that car on and let the air conditioner run a little bit so that it is a nice cool car and you're not getting into a boiling car after you've had your swim and you're really hot and you're really drippy and all of those things. It's just have the cooled down car. It definitely helps. And then make sure that you are just abiding by all the rules of Swimply or Sniff Spot and the particular location that you are in. Always feel free to ask questions to the pool owner in advance and then make your choice from there. Let me know if you are going to be grabbing a Swimply or a Sniff Spot, or if you have questions on doing this as well, because I love taking my dogs for swims because I can't put my dogs in my above ground pool in the house that I'm currently in until I get moved over to the new house with the better things. And that means that I can rent out these pools and allow my dogs to swim and just jump off of the concrete into the in-ground pool. And it helps a lot for cooling them down, giving them fun experiences, and giving really good content as well. So we'll see you in the upcoming episodes as we continue to help you navigate the world of being a dog parent, to help you level up for your pup and give them the best and most fun life possible with the least amount of stress on you. We'll see you in tomorrow's episode.